Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Premier Perspective. Today we're here to talk about the UEFA Champions League semifinal games. Me and Ryan City fans, so we're really happy about what happened in the game. Abdul, Real Madrid fan, we'll get his thoughts on it. But first, we are going to start with the Madrid Chelsea game. Chelsea came out firing, really good chances. There's that one that Pulisic had for Werner that he should have scored. Courtois
Yeah,
saved it.
yeah, they're right on line, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, it's a situation where Werner, player who's been missing a lot of chances, is going to get a lot of stick. But you also have to give credit to Courtois making a really good save.
you're safe.
Obviously, he shouldn't have even had the chance of saving it, but yeah. But then quickly after, Pulisic got the goal, really good goal. Really nice to see him playing well for Chelsea. Gave that 1-0 advantage to Madrid, and Madrid looked flat up until
Yeah,
that point. Chelsea were pressing high. Uh, I thought Conte had such a great game.
yeah, Conte was
He
huge,
was just
absolutely massive,
dominating, and
man.
obviously, when you have a midfield of Real Madrid that's so good, you need someone like Conte on the other end for Chelsea. But not too long after 29th minute, Madrid corner kick. Benzema took the ball off his head, swung around, a rocket. Really good goal.
Absolutely, I didn't even
Mendy
see it
didn't
in
even
the
have a
air.
yeah. Mendy didn't even have a chance. He didn't even how like when the ball's really close and the goalie just goes like Mendy didn't
Yeah,
even have time to
Just
do
he
no
didn't
that.
even do
reaction at
that.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a really good goal. And then for the second half, I thought that both teams were a little flat.
yeah,
Not as much action as the first half. I think both teams were under the idea that they didn't want to lose the game.
yeah. That's definitely what it looked
So I
like.
think
Yeah,
that played a lot, especially Madrid. They probably felt like they weren't playing that well, so like hanging out to a tie was like a good result for them. And then Chelsea being away, they're probably like, oh, that's a good result for us, considering that we're having a away goal. But Abdul, obviously since you're a Real Madrid fan, I'm just really curious to know what you thought about the game and like how high, like if you give a percentage, the percent chance you think of Madrid passing to the final.
Well, uh, as much as I hate to say it, I think Chelsea was the better team yesterday, and I think we can all agree on that.
yes,
Yeah.
Um, um, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Because both teams, and especially Madrid, are the kind of teams that like to score in the beginning of the match and then rest for the rest of the match. I was
Hmm.
expecting Madrid to get a 2 goal lead or a 1 goal lead in the first half and then rest because that's what they've been doing for the past couple of big games. Um, is Madrid able to make the comeback? I hope so. I think they will personally, because that would mean that Madrid would have Mendy and Ramos back in their squad, and
Hmm.
after Marcelo's shambolic performance yesterday,
Yeah,
he had a rough one.
I thought he was poor, especially in the first half.
I generally don't know what happened to him. Like he was one of those players that used to perform well in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think it's old age,
Yeah.
Yeah,
honestly.
he's getting up there.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Uh,
he's obviously like he was class, but not to like in terms of like aging. Obviously, there's still like Modric and Cruz and Ramos that are already getting old, but I don't know. Marcelo just seems to have
I think
fallen off
he's
just a
lost
bit.
it. He's lost it. Varane coming back from injury, I don't think he did his best. Like he still has a
Hmm.
lot of things to work on, but that's probably because he came back from injury. Militao had a really big game yesterday. I think he did excellent, um, for a game like yesterday. Um, the first half, again, it had more of the action. Second half, both teams didn't want to take the risk because if one team counters, off of the other team's like attack, it's one of them was bound to lose. So they didn't want to take the loss. None of the teams wanted to take the risk. But I still think that Madrid has a good chance, especially with the return of Ramos, Mendy, and Valverde. Actually,
yeah,
Yeah,
and I was gonna say
mhm.
as well. I mean, yeah, for Madrid, I mean, when they have all their players back, and because we know Madrid can be that team that plays really well in these type of games and these big games that are necessary
Mhm.
to perform really well, and they have the players who have the experience. They have. I always forget that Luka Modric just played in the World Cup final. I mean, they have Tony Cruz who's won a World Cup,
Mhm.
and they have Casemiro who's also a class midfielder to balance it all out. And Benzema just can't stop scoring lately. Absolutely insane player. Um, up top. Other than that, I mean, it's been kind of rough for them. But Benzema is great, and Madrid's a great team too. But Chelsea, I mean, Chelsea, I just want to like say about Chelsea for a second. Their attack in the first 15 to
Mm-hmm.
between 15, I'd say 20, 30 minutes of the game, they
It was
were
great.
incredible, their attack.
Yeah.
If they could be that consistent, I know, yeah, there were a couple chances that they could have done better. I don't even mean that. The consistency of the energy in the attack in that first 30 minutes, if they play like that all the time, their front four or five, or whatever they like to play up there, they're scoring multiple goals a game against big teams like this, and they're winning. And they're winning championships. They're winning trophies. I don't know about the Champions League this year, but I mean, and another back to just the game in general. I don't think either team necessarily has the upper hand. Yes, I know Chelsea has an away goal, but I think both teams are happy with that result. Chelsea is the away goal. Madrid, by any means, not their best game at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think just to hold
I
the 1-1 going into the next one is the smartest for both of them.
Yeah, I definitely think Madrid is gonna go into that game definitely more motivated. Obviously, if there's some injuries that are from players that are lifted up and that they're able to play, it will definitely give them a boost. But right now, I don't know. I'm slightly favoring towards Chelsea to win the game. I think I would like Madrid to win, but I think that I'm slightly going towards Chelsea based on performance.
I
But
am too. That's what I would go for as well.
even match. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out on Wednesday. But next we have this huge game that took place, PSG versus City. Um, this game just happened, like we're recording about an hour after the game, um, for reference. But oh man, the emotions that I've had
A lot
throughout that
happening,
game.
man.
Obviously, as you guys know, I'm a City fan, and it was just I don't even know what to say. Like the turnaround was great. I'm really happy with the way City performed in that second half, considering the very, very lackluster and poor first half that they had. But to give a quick summary, Marquinhos back from injury, scored a nice header off a corner. That was just poor marking from City. I've never really been a fan of the zone marking when it comes to corners, but that's the way that City likes to do it, and it cost them. Both teams were challenging each other. PSG, I feel like, definitely were the better team for a lot of the first half. City had possession, but were doing absolutely nothing with it. Second half is where things changed, and I think what changed the game for City was Zinchenko coming in for Cancelo. He brought in something that was very different to the team. I thought that Zinchenko was way better than Cancelo. I thought Cancelo was having somewhat of a poor game, at least to his standards. But De Bruyne, 64th minute, sends one of his normal in swinging balls from the left side. Really lucky bounce because no one gets it. Navas was didn't know whether to go for it or to wait
Marking
to see if
Stones.
there's uh, a touch from Stones, but nice bounce. De Bruyne scores, and at that point, game is even, and the momentum is 100% in City's favor at that point
Yeah,
in
and
the
that
game.
yeah, and at that point that they made PSG play because PSG, as soon as they scored that goal, I mean, City had a rough first half, so PSG
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to worry about it. But second half, City did come out better. Even before they scored the goal, even before Zinchenko, who is huge. For me, Zinchenko brought that width to the team that Cancelo does not bring as a fullback.
Mm-hmm.
Cancelo likes to come in and play as almost a second CDM, and Zinchenko is so much wider, and that really opened PSG up. When before PSG were so compact down the middle that there was almost no way to break them down. It was nearly impossible. But after this goal, PSG are well opened up. They're really reckless and they're just not thinking. And they're again just so open in their defense and in their midfield is so easy to find the spaces. And City were able to hold the ball around City, not Cities around PSG's the top of their own defending third.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they were really broken down, where PSG couldn't seem to get the ball. PSG got impatient, fouled, I believe it was Foden off the ball, coming
And
in,
then
and
the
then
beauty.
De Bruyne, Mahrez standing over the free kick, and Mahrez usually would be De Bruyne, but I could tell looking at it. I said I was watching the game with my brother, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"It's." I said, "This is a lefty because the walls is
Yeah,
covering De Bruyne's."
I was looking at it, and I didn't think Mars was gonna like. Obviously, the positioning was in favor for Mars, but I just thought, it's De Bruyne.
Right.
Like De Bruyne's taking it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, like if De Bruyne scores from here, and then when I saw Mars going up to the ball, I thought he was just gonna run over, and then De Bruyne was actually gonna kick it. But then Mares right through the wall. Nah, man, I was so
Beautiful.
happy to see that go
Yeah,
in.
beautiful goal, absolutely beautiful. I think City have the advantage with their two goal advantage. I think PSG has a lot of work to do in the second leg.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and at
definitely gonna
that
be interesting to see
and they don't
how the
have
game is gonna be.
and they don't have Idrissa Gay anymore
Yeah.
because 6 minutes after the goal, terrible challenge on Gundogan,
Oof.
absolutely crunching on his ankle. I'm surprised Gundogan was able to get up fine after a couple
Yeah,
of minutes
I was
because
like afraid
that
that he was
was
gonna have to come off injured
That was
yeah
brutal.
because
that
it was
was
a really
bad.
bad tackle.
It was a
I,
brutal tackle, straight red. And at that point,
mhm.
PSG were down to 10 men, and the game was over after that,
Yeah,
pretty much because we were able to absorb the pressure of Mbappe, who's so fast for
yeah.
what, like
But he
a
was
couple of times.
contained throughout the whole game. I'm gonna be
Yeah, he
honest.
was
He didn't
contained.
do anything.
Yeah, except
Like
for that one cross that was
I
close.
just really don't think. Yeah, the one that
Yeah.
Verratti almost put in,
Yes.
but I just feel like Mbappe didn't do that much today. I thought Di Maria was excellent for the first
Di Maria
half,
was
especially.
incredible. He was.
Neymar was good as he always is. Obviously, when you watch Neymar, you appreciate the skill. Sometimes, obviously, you do get annoyed at the theatrics that he does put on at
Yeah.
times. But he's such an amazingly skilled player, one of the best in the world, that you just have to admire him. But yeah, City had the advantage. They have 2 away goals now, so they have the first match next week on Tuesday. I definitely think that, um, especially considering the performance today, I do feel like Mbappe is gonna come out on Tuesday a lot more fired up. I think he's
I do,
definitely
but
gonna
I
have a better game.
but I also believe that the city's going to be able to contain him, and like
I
we were
hope
talking
though.
about,
I genuinely think that right now in the position that we're in, that City's gonna be able to
I
hold
think
it.
we can because the way we absorbed that pressure today was incredible. And like I said, I mean, like we predicted.
Mhm.
Pretty sure we mentioned it this past weekend about or the last Champions League video, but about uh Laporte out for Stones, and that was
Mhm.
definitely the correct decision because
Yeah,
with
Stones
that
was
you need
great.
to. He was great, no mistakes this time. He really proved himself next to Ruben Diaz, who was always incredible. But honestly, the defense really didn't have to do too much because the
Mhm.
way if you look at PSG's counterattacks, right, especially in that space, like just from the first goal on, from the time that PSG had to actually play on, so the last between 61 and about 85 minutes, PSG would start a counterattack in their own in that middle third, and they'd be carrying, and they'd have Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria, who's absolutely incredible this game, and they're such quick players. But PSG, not PSG, I'm sorry, City would absolutely converge on them. It was like a swarm of bees going
Mhm.
to the player who's attacked, and they had nowhere to go. We'd win it every single time. So
Yeah.
Stones and Diaz, yes, they had to deal with Mbappe on a couple occasions, but for the most part, that game was completely won in City's midfield. The way we held the ball and didn't even
Mhm.
let them get a counterattack. Because as soon as you let a team like PSG, Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, all
Mhm.
incredibly skilled and rapid players go, they're away. But since we didn't, that was the key to containing them and keeping them to 1 goal today.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with the second half. I think we were also really lucky to not let in a second goal with the way that we were playing in the first half, and that also we played well considering the fact that I thought, well, more in the first half, that Rodri was not playing well. I thought he was a bit slow today, especially in the beginning. He was giving the ball up a lot, but I think City reversed their poor start with a really good second half. They got the 2 away goals that they need, and now they're going in with an advantage. Right now, if I'm basing off these 2 games, I'm looking towards a Chelsea City final.
That's what I see as well.
Um, I still think that it could go either way. We're saying that it could be Chelsea City, and then we do this video next week and it's Madrid versus PSG. So anything, obviously, all these no tie is settled. But if we were basing it off the first game, I would say that I would go City and then Chelsea for the final.
I would as well.
Anything could happen in the world of football.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. We once again want to say thank you to anyone who's shown support to the channel. We're gonna be back next week, obviously, with the second leg results. Back later on in the week with Europa League action as well. Semifinals, we have United versus Roma. Yeah, United versus Roma and Villarreal versus Arsenal. We're hoping, obviously, as the three of us here are mutuals, we're hoping for a United Arsenal final there. But we'll see as those games pan out tomorrow. But once again, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you guys soon.